Here we have about half an hour of dogs communicating on video. I wanted to show relaxed, happy dog body language in order to contrast this with the body language of stress, fear and anxiety. I borrowed a camera for 2 weeks and filmed wherever it was practical to do so, trying not to put the dogs under any more pressure than they were already under. Whilst not exhaustive, it shows a useful cross-section of behaviours, including at a clinic consultation, a rescue kennel, at the vets, a doggy daycare centre, and lots of dogs meeting other dogs. That's the main purpose of doggy language after all. Here we have Wallace, the border collie. He's come to the clinic for dog-to-dog aggression problems, and he's also bitten his owner. It's an unfamiliar environment and he's an anxious dog. He's very alert, his tail's down, he's scanning, hypervigilant. So yawn and a tongue flick towards the owner. Another tongue flick. He's very determinedly looking away from us, who are the opposite way to the way he's looking. He's showing the whites of his eyes. You call that whale eye. Now he's having a little sniff. I would say that's a displacement activity because he doesn't quite know what to do, what else to do in the situation. Another tongue flick. He turns away from the owner. Tongue flick. And again he goes to solicit the owner's attention. Another tongue flick. More sniffing. Another yawn. Again, still looking away from us. Wallace is off the lead now. And he's starting to look more relaxed. A little wag of the tail. Now he's a bit demanding for the owner's attention. A shaking off the previous few minutes. And now he's exploratory. He's relaxed enough to have a Kong now, until I drop my flask lid, so there you have a startle response, but he recovers quite quickly. Much more relaxed now, happy to pick up a ball, wondering what we're going to be doing next. I now think he's starting to wonder what we're doing. He's looking a bit more worried again. What's happening next? So tongue flick as his owner puts the harness over his head. Lots of lip licking and a bit of sniffing. And he's panting now. Little yawn. Lots more lip licking and sniffing. Cheers up because the owner's about to give him a treat. Now working outside with my dog Rover, actually. The reason they went off then is because their eyes met. So I thought I'd leave that in because it was quite interesting. So here we have Rex. Again, he's come for a dog-to-dog consultation, but he's nice and relaxed here, having a jolly good old roll. I think most of his problems to do with other dogs are more frustration rather than fear-based. There's another dog to the right-hand side of the screen here, but Rex is not too bothered at this distance. Now he focuses on the other dog. You see the high, stiff tail wag and his attention. Very, very focused. So now we introduce him to the stuffed dog Reggie to see what he makes of that. First he explores the stables. Look how he keeps his weight in his back legs because he's not sure whether there might be a monster lurking in there. The same again. Now he's seen it. Totally focused. A little bit uncertain. Stiff-legged, high tail, poor lift, a little bit of uncertainty, anticipation. Very aroused, keeping his weight in his back legs, ready for a quick getaway. And there it is. So he's still unsure and a little bit worried, but I think he knows it's not another dog now. So he's kind of wants to play, but is a little bit concerned as well. And off he goes. So here we are at the rescue kennel, and this chap looks pretty friendly, to be honest. He's paddling his legs to try and ease his anticipation that he's hoping he's coming out. Looks very, very friendly chap. And this little Jack Russell with the Queen Anne legs, she's very young and she's communicating wildly. A little shake off, lots of turnaways, ears up, ears down, tongue flick. She looks friendly. She just wants to come out and play. A little bit of vocalisation, a little bit of frustration there. So he's giving us a nice yawn. He's a little bit unsure, but it's a nice slow tail wag. He looks pretty friendly. However, this chap looks very worried. Again, he's moving his head from side to side. His ears are back. His body posture is low. He's panting, doing anything but not looking at us. Interestingly, his back legs are a bit splayed. That can be another sign of fear, anxiety, worry. But in this case, I think he's got something physiologically wrong with him. So a big old tongue flick. It's very anxious. This chap's turning his head away from us again, and this one just looks really rather depressed. His tail's down, his ears are back. He just looks very, very sad. Low body posture, hanging his head even. Not much interest in his surroundings really, apart from coming to the front of the kennel. So this guy's got a very, very aroused, high, stiff tail wag. And then this one's jumping up the fence in order to keep himself occupied in a rather ritualistic fashion, jumping towards the dog the other side of the fence. There they go. Timed it well. So here we have a long-haired Rottweiler. I didn't even know there was such a thing, but again he looks quite worried. He's anxiously looking from side to side, but determinedly not looking at me or the camera, and panting. He's got a lot of tension in his face. And there, look, he turns around and withdraws, so he avoids giving us a shake off and a final glance as he goes into his kennel. Apparently he is quite an aggressive dog. Very fearful. Comes out again. From side to side, definitely not glancing at us on the way, making it very obvious he's not looking. So this chap brings us a toy in a very friendly greeting behaviour. Here we have a stretched greeting, and she looks pretty friendly. Difficult to read her expression, she's a black dog. A bit of vocalisation. Now I think we get a yawn. So this dog looks really worried by me. Goes still. And then erupts into barking in a minute. Tail wag, goes still, erupts into barking, high stiff tail wag. Interesting, this dog's not actually that fearful or aggressive. I think it was the camera that upset it in this case. But again, about to start barking and going backwards again. So again, he goes still. Notice that. Lots of my clients say he was wagging his tail, but you have to look at the whole picture, and that is a stiff, aroused tail wag. And then he goes to hide in his kennel. So this chap looks friendly. He's paddling his legs. He's wagging his tail quite slowly, looking interested. I push him a little bit with the camera, and a bit of tongue flicks. Looks a bit more worried, and then whoa, whoa, whoa. Not interested. So this is a Dalmatian cross, and she's worn nearly all her teeth away on the bars of her run. So this dog, Leanne's brought out, he used to rag the lead. He seems she's been doing a lot of work with him, and he's a lot better. But she's trying to provoke him a little bit here. But he's doing quite a lot of lip licking. And again, he looks rather worried, scanning, tense, ready to go. Paw lift as he looks back at some barking, presumably in the kennels behind, as we go for our little walk. So here we are, we take him up to the donkey. He wants to get to the donkey. Leanne brings him back, he lunges at her. And now he does a bit of lead ragging. So that's a frustration trigger. So here we have the little Jack Russell. She's out in the foyer being exploratory now. She was a fairly friendly little thing, and she's got a home to go to. So here we are at the vets. Had to take my dogs to the vets. And they come in quite happily. They're quite excited, actually. A little tongue flick Rover did to something off screen there. And again, Spotty. So there's a spaniel. Rover backs off and looks away. So Rover's giving a lot of signals now with a yawn and licking his lips and tongue flicks and whatever and looking a bit agitated, but I actually think it's because he's trying to sit on that chair and his legs are too long rather than anything else. This poor spaniel really doesn't want to be in the vet. A whale eye, it's panting, it's struggling, it's actually more or less panicking. So here we are actually in the consulting room now. It's Spot's turn, but she looks happy and relaxed. Whereas Rover looks much more worried. He was not that keen to take the treat then. Rover's had quite a lot of veterinary intervention. He had a bad leg when we first got to him, so he's clearly looking like he doesn't want to see the vet, whereas Spot's not bothered at all. Rover gives me a baleful look. So Spot's up on the table. Rover has a look. Quick shake off, transition into a different situation. Exploring. Bit of a tongue flick. Bit worried there by what Anna's doing to underneath. And now the stethoscope comes out. The prospect of a treat allays Spotty's concern about the stethoscope. So here we are out for a walk. Rover's standing sideways, giving the oncoming dog a good view of him. Spotty's staying out of the way. Neither of my dogs particularly socially confident, but having a nice nose to tail sniff with the big black dog. Spotty hanging back and getting information from a distance. Here, Rover's trying to stop the big dog getting right up his tail, so he puts his tail down and moves away. Now it's his turn to sniff this retriever's bottom. Retriever comes round telling him back off. Rover gives him a nice calming signal and moves away. Spotty's curious, but here we have the gentle giant. Rover's clearly quite concerned about him and then consequently concerned of his owner as well. So he's making himself small with his ears back and his tail tucked, but he's curious enough and actually wants to say hello. Gives a little calming turn of the head there. Oh, but he's a bit too close and it's a bit too much. However, the gentle giant doesn't mind. Spotty looks a bit worried too. She's avoiding and just running backwards and forward, trying not to look too big. Here we have a black lurcher. Here we have a dog on a lead about to go off, and Rover backs off. Here's Spotty in the garden in anticipation of a walk. And now Spotty meets another terrier. And she's making herself very small, giving a lot of appeasement behaviour there, and turned herself upside down. So she shoots off, Rover chases her, and then she's on her back again before she knows it. So here that spaniel gives a lovely calming signal, lying down in front of Rover. They have a nice little sniff. And Rover turns away a couple of times. I'm not sure whether he wasn't looking at something in the distance there, but might have just been communicating. So a little nose to tail sniff with the chocolate lab. And here we have a little young cockapoo, making herself very small and appeasing for the two adult dogs. So here Rover meets some more lurchers, and here a couple of lurchers, Rover and the other one, they frighten themselves and each other. Here we have another little terrier, so Spotty and the other terrier having a nice little sniff and communicate, lots of signalling going on. I think Spotty just tells him off for being too much up her bottom, and now it says hello to Rover as he comes through the gate. And off they go. Just a quick hello. This is Big Jim, and he's giving us an appeasement grin or a submissive grin. Again, not all dogs do this, but again, it is an appeasement behaviour, greeting behaviour. Well, Spotty's a bit worried by the cat, keeps her weight in her back legs. Cat wants feeding. And here we are at the doggy daycare centre. The black Labrador looks a little bit worried about me as we come in, or worried about the camera. The other dogs are fairly amenable. Lots of activity at the door. Notice how they're all very soft, nice slow wag of the tail, soft expression on their face. They all look pretty relaxed, to be honest. And whilst it was a hot day at the kennels, it's a hot day here at the doggy daycare, and all the dogs at the kennels were panting, and the dogs here are not panting. I think that Schnauzer a little bit worried by me in the gate, blocking the gateway a little bit. Everyone else seems quite easygoing and content. Poodle's gorgeous. Bit of excitement there. Those two dogs were playing quite a lot. Nice gentle play between the cockapoo and the Jack Russell. Still playing. The cockapoo keeps lying down, it punctuates the play and keeps everything calm. So Spot has a wee, Rover has a wee on top, normal dog behaviour. Notice how Spot lifts her paw in anticipation of the treat. Rover's had a wee, he's having a scratch, again normal dog behaviour. Spot's on the trail of something, so she's very, very focused on a third party. She even points, directing her focus. So here we are at the cafe at Lith Hill, Hormond Hill. And there's a terrier having a little shake off, pulling to the end of the lead and coming back to shake it off. So there's a black dog up by the cafe and the terrier's desperate to get to it. The black dog seems to be coping incredibly well. Although being black, it's difficult to read the facial expressions, but she seems very tolerant. None of the owners seem to have a clue about what's going on. Terrier shakes off again. So here we have a golden cocker in a dog's truss harness. This dog looks very anxious. It's scanning, its tail's down, its body posture's low, it's hypervigilant. Interestingly, doesn't really seem to be showing any interest in any of the things that are actually there. It's more worried by what might be out there. And again, the owners seem completely oblivious. Keeping the weight back in its leg, peering around the corner. Not settling, back and forth.